All right, let's talk about something that, let's be honest, can be a huge headache for anyone learning Mandarin, pronunciation. But you know what? It doesn't have to be. We're going to break it all down today by zeroing in on the real core of the language's sound, the vowels. Seriously, if you get these down, you've basically unlocked the secret to sounding clear and confident. So, you ready? Let's jump in.
So, have you ever been there? You're listening to someone speak Mandarin, and you're just thinking, there is no way my mouth can make those sounds. Don't worry, you are not alone. That's a super common feeling. You've got the tones, all these consonants that feel kind of weird. Yeah, it can definitely seem like a lot to take in at first.
But here's the secret. What if I told you it's not about trying to memorize a million different impossible sounds? Nope. It's actually about getting a handle on just a few simple building blocks. Once you get those, I promise everything else just starts to, well, click. And that's exactly what we're going to do together. Let's crack this code.
Okay, first things first, the Pinyin code. Before we even try to make a single sound, we got to get our heads around the most important piece of the puzzle in any Pinyin syllable.
And that piece is called the final. That's our big word for today. Really all it means is the vowel sound. The best way to think about it, it's the main sound, the part you can really stretch out. You know, if you were to sing a Mandarin word, the final is the sound you'd hold on to. It's kind of like the soul of the syllable. All right, so let's meet our core vowel sounds. There are just 5 of them. And I love this analogy. Think of them like the primary colors of Pinyin, you know, like red, yellow, and blue. Once you have these 5 down, you can start mixing them together to create this whole rainbow of other sounds.
First up is ah. Just listen for a sec. It's this really open sound. Pretty much exactly what a doctor asks you to say, right? Open up and say ah. Let's hear it again. Ah, ah.
Next, we have ooh. This one's pretty close to the O in a word like more, but the trick is to make your lips a little more rounded, a little tighter. Listen carefully. Ooh, ooh. Okay, now for E. And I'm going to be honest, this one can be a bit tricky for English speakers. It's not like the E in me or bed, not at all. It's a sound that really comes from the back of your throat. It's kind of like the sound you make in the word duh. Listen, uh.
All right, here's an easy one. Eh. This is pretty much a dead ringer for the E sound in the English word see. The key is to spread your lips wide, almost like you're smiling. Check it out. E. E.
And last but not least, our 5th primary color, Now this sound usually isn't in English, but there's a really cool trick to get it right. First, just make that E sound we just did. Got it? Okay, now, while you're making that sound, just round your lips like you're gonna whistle. See? Go on, give it a try.
Okay, awesome. You've got the 5 primary colors down. Now this is where it gets really fun. Just like mixing paint, we're going to start combining these core sounds to make brand new ones. These are called compound finals. Let's take a look at exactly how this works.
So if you look at this, it's actually pretty simple. All we're doing is taking one sound and just gliding it smoothly into a second one. So for example, you take and you add E, and you get I. Hey, that sounds just like the English word I, right? Or how about plus O? That becomes ow, ow, like the ow in how. So you see, the key here isn't really about learning totally new sounds. It's all about practicing that smooth slide from one of our primary colors to another.
Okay, so you've got the theory down. You have the building blocks. But how do you get this stuff to become automatic, right? To make it second nature? Well, that's where practice comes in. We're going to turn all this knowledge into an actual skill with a super simple 3-step plan.
I want you to think of this like a workout plan for your mouth, your pronunciation gym. First, you've got listen and write. This is all about training your ears to really hear the difference between the sounds. Then you move on to match and build. This is where you actually start putting the pieces together yourself, kind of like Lego blocks. And finally, you've got repeat and master. This is where you lock it all in, building that muscle memory so you don't even have to think about it anymore. That's the secret to making it all automatic.
And that's really it. That's the code. Cracked. You seriously now have the basic tools you need to take on the pronunciation of pretty much any word in Mandarin. So let's do a super quick review of the main points before we finish up.
Okay, so quick cheat sheet. Remember those vowel sounds in Pinyin? They're called finals. They're just 5 simple ones to start with. A, O, E, and U. Those are our primary colors. Then you combine those to make compound finals. And the real key to mastering it all, that 3-step practice plan. Listen, match, and repeat.
So, there you have it.
The alphabet of Mandarin sounds is literally in your hands now. You have the foundational pieces you need to start building words, to ask questions, to introduce yourself. So I guess the only real question left is, now that you have these tools, what's the very first thing you're going to say?